Iyanden Eldar video for a bit while I could go with some new project. So this is the Avatar of Khaine. So this is the Avatar of the Eldar War God, and this is in fact the Forge World model with sword rather than the Games Workshop model, mainly because I think that the avatar that Games Workshop make is a bit small and I'm not so fond of the model and the styling, whereas I really like the Forge World ones, but I just prefer the one with the sword. So yeah, I've gone and with the sort of the magma sort of effects on his skin. I think they've worked out really well. And then on his armour and helmet, they're sort of slightly red tinged, really dark, metallic, and then sort of a red to orange blade with yet bright yellow runes and that. And then to keep with the army colours, I've given him yellow hair and done in the same way as all of the yellow armour and stuff, so it was white with a wash. And then the blue tabard with the same techniques as all the blue for the other units. And then for his face, it's mostly the sort of molten magma effect. So I've got a white porcelain or like ceramic-y bit, I think, on sort of around on the top, and dark black eyes, which I think look quite cool. And then I've picked out all the gems in green on him just to add another sort of colour that wasn't red or sort of blue. It stands out a bit more, I think. But yeah, just to give you guys a scale of size. So that's him standing next to a guardian. So he's quite a lot bigger than the Games Workshop one. He's in fact taller than the Wraith Lord by not that much, but just enough that he looks more imposing. But he's obviously shorter than the Wraith Knight by a reasonable bit still. He just sort of looks bigger. Yeah, and I've used him a couple of times. He's been a bit hit and miss, but I still really like him as a unit, and I'll definitely keep using him in my armies. He's just useful with he gets a sort of fearless aura for Eldar, which is 12 inches, which is quite useful for sort of making my aspect warriors fearless, whereas my ghost warriors already are. He's weapon skill 10, ballistic skill 10, initiative 10, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, strength and toughness 6, leadership 10. He's got a 3-up save. He has the demon special rule. His sword can be fired as essentially a melter gun, or in combat it's an AP1 weapon, which is quite useful if you're up against tanks. And as the Avatar of Khaine, he can take 2 X-Arch skills, powers is what they're called. So he can take Crushing Blow, which gives him +1 strength, Fast Shot to give him an additional shot with his sword. He can take Night Vision, which is a bit dodgy because he's only got a 12-inch range, so isn't affected by night fighting. He can also take Disarming Strike, which is really useful in a challenge. So you and your opponent dice off on a d6. The avatar gets +1 if his initiative is higher than your opponent, which is going to be most of the time unless you're sort of fighting another avatar or a Keeper of Secrets or the named Bloodthirster. I think they're about the only things that are initiative 10 in the game. Yes, so if you win the roll-off, you can pick a close combat weapon used by your opponent, and it counts as just a normal close combat weapon for the rest of the turn, which is quite useful. So you can disarm those power fists, those bone swords, force weapons, anything that would potentially cause the Avatar a problem. You can sort of knock away and ignore for the turn, which can come in quite handy. So guys, as I said, this is the last of my Iyanden videos for a while. I hope you've enjoyed them. Stay tuned for some new videos on my next project coming soon.